The British state really doesn't trust you even to buy your own food. Now, some of the things in this video are some of the most ridiculous that I've ever heard of. There may be a positive to it, but let me know in the comments if you agree with that. But because there's a hint of gossip to some of these stories, we are here on Black Belt Secrets. So please do subscribe for more of this slightly tongue-in-cheek, somewhat serious stuff that I just can't believe sometimes. Now, the first thing up is this. Believe it or not, according to new regulations from the 1st of October this year, large companies like supermarkets are banned from promoting buy one, get one free deals on all sorts of food and drink that the government considers to be unhealthy. That's right, they're banning promotion of these things. But let's get technical on this. They are not banning the sale of buy one, get one free deals, just the promotion. So they can't tell you on the shelf that it is buy one, get one free, but it will still ring through the checkout as buy one, get one free. And apparently some stores are now telling their staff to wander around whispering, that one's buy one, get one free, or to tell you when you go through the checkout that this one happens to be buy one, get one free. All because they don't trust people to buy their own food in moderation, and there's a health and obesity crisis around the country, which is probably true. But this is one of the ways that they are tackling it. Now, we've had discussions on jabs and things like this for weight loss injections. Now we have this. So the price or multi-buy promotions on unhealthy food and drinks, such as buy one, get one free, are being banned. Just the promotions thereof. They apply to supermarkets, larger high street shops, and online retailers. It's been considered for years, so this is not just a Labour thing, but it's been put off because of the cost of living crisis. Now they say, oh, well, now that is somewhat over, that we can get on with these changes. Well, it isn't over. It's still over 5%. The food inflation is still over 5%. Ministers argue, however, that restrictions are an important step to tackle obesity, in particular childhood obesity. The regulations also, you'd have seen the videos where someone is somewhat joking that they've been restricted from having a refill on a full sugar Coke, for example. The regulations also ban, it's true, they also ban the free refill promotions of certain drinks in restaurants and cafes. Department of Health and Social Care spokesperson said the restrictions were a crucial step in giving children a healthy, happy start in life. Obesity robs children of the best possible starts in life, sets them up for lifetime health problems, and costs the NHS billions. Well, there's lots of things that cost the NHS billions, of which this is only one. So the government introduced a classification scheme to define what food and drink they consider unhealthy, usually the high fat, salt, and sugar content. And so there's a whole system here whereby they define what businesses, first of all, and then what categories of food are to have these restrictions in place, and so on. Now, there is, of course, a serious side to this. It'd be remiss of me not to say it, but obesity rates have risen over the last decades, with more than a quarter of adults and a fifth of children at the end of primary school classed as obese. And the president of the Association of Public Health Directors, Greg Fell, said that this should not be seen as a silver bullet, but did say that it was long overdue, that we should be not promoting these buy one, get one free deals and promotions and such on what they consider to be unhealthy foods. But I will be that guy to say that if you see an overweight child, the chances are they have overweight parents, and it is not an insult or fat shaming to say that. This is just usually true. And I think that that really comes from parenting choices. Now, whilst on the one hand they say that the buy one, get one free deals don't save people money, in fact, they end up spending more, I think the problem is not the buy one, get one free deals. I think the problem is more fundamental than that, in either the education of the parents in not buying the less healthy food and obviously buying much more of it, but also more generally the guidance provided by those parents for those children. It should not be a controversial thing to say that it is the parents usually that are providing this unhealthy lifestyle for those children. Because as I said, when you see an overweight child, you usually see an overweight parent along with it, or both parents are overweight. Now, I don't want to get shot down for these comments. It is just my observation. And I think if we really want to tackle this, it really needs to be education for those parents and encouragement to live a more healthy lifestyle, not just banning certain promotions at the checkout, whilst that may well play a part. For me, it really does come down to the education and the lifestyle of those parents and what they're providing for those children. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is quite divisive, but I really do think that setting the right standards for those children is the responsibility of the parents. Ultimately, with these deals, I think the parents will buy that stuff anyway. Next story. I had an email last night from a viewer who works for Uber Eats and said that they now have mandatory requirements to check and scan ID for age-restricted items. So you can see where we're going with this video, this nanny state, even filtering down into companies, because obviously there are certain items, be it alcohol or anything else, that has an age restriction on it. The age restriction applies at the point of sale, i.e. buying it online, and now these companies are being told that they have to scan the ID of their customers at the doorstep, checking their name and their date of birth and everything else. Now, whilst they are using the in-app scanner to do this, many people will quite rightly be terrified as to whether the person delivering it, bearing in mind we've had all the stories where allegedly illegal migrants are renting accounts from other genuine Uber Eats drivers or other delivery company drivers like Deliveroo or whoever, and they are not legitimately supposed to be making those deliveries. Thus, if they turn up and they are scanning your ID, what is to say that they don't nefariously take a photograph of your ID when they're not supposed to do? The guidance that my viewer sent to me said they are not supposed to take the photograph with their own personal phone. What's to say they don't do that? And that then leads into identity theft. And identity theft is a very important issue, which is a perfect cue for a company that supports my channel here, helping to bring these videos to you. And you know what? With all the talk of the dangers of digital ID and your data being out there, that is precisely why I support companies on my channel as partners such as Incogni, who specializes in removing your data from the internet. They help you to disappear. They help to keep you anonymous. If they can't find you, they can't harm you. Incogni is a service that will remove your data from the internet from companies and marketers that store it and share it and sell it. And if you have specific companies that insist on marketing to you or they just refuse to remove your information, you can tell them specifically, you can tell Incogni specifically to remove your data from those companies. It is a targeted process to help you disappear from the internet. And of course, as they're partners of my channel here, you get a great discount, which I strongly urge you to take up, of 60% off the annual plan using the code BlackBeltSecrets at the link in the description below. You'll get access to a dashboard and you'll see how many companies are removing your information from their websites and databases, helping you to disappear from the internet. So check out Incogni with the code BlackBeltSecrets at the link in the description below. Okay, next ridiculous story, which on the face of it does sound ridiculous, but then when you really think about it, I've been increasingly cynical over the last few years, not just because I'm a lawyer, but I mean, certainly because I'm a lawyer. Most lawyers are cynical to some degree. But this latest one is, again, quite ridiculous. Now, the whole thing with digital ID, there was a rumor floating around that Tony Blair's son has a company called Multiverse. And this rumor, which has been debunked, apparently, that it had the contract to provide all of the software in the background for digital ID. Now, bearing in mind, this was a rumor and supposedly debunked, but then on a TV show by the BBC, Have I Got News For You, they presented this as fact before being taken off the air, and the BBC said, we apologize for this unintentional editorial oversight. And both the Department for Science, Innovation, Technology and Multiverse have categorically denied any connection to the Digital Identity Project. Government representative told The Express that claims that Multiverse has been chosen to develop government's digital ID app are false. Independent fact-checking organization Full Fact has previously investigated and disproved the allegation after this gained traction on social media platforms. Now, I always query when these things sort of get a life of their own and they go viral and people discuss them and then they end up talking about them. Often these things have a very strange way of presenting themselves in one way or another in reality. Now, all this has been debunked and denied and everything else. if this digital ID does go ahead, it does beg the question, well, who's going to provide it? Which company will get the contract? Because I can tell you that this is not going to be a case of a few tens of thousands of pounds. This is going to be many tens, if not hundreds of millions of pounds that goes into this project, because it's government. They have a way of spending huge amounts of money where really it's highly questionable. If you followed my money channel recently, I talked about the problem with police funding, where the Met has a shortfall of £260 million, and yet we are sending 46, I think it was, million pounds to Lebanon to help their police force and their internal policing and security, whereas we have gaping holes in our own funding. So it does beg the question, as if this digital ID does go ahead, who's going to get the contract? Because with all these scandals coming out of government, not just this Labour government, but every government over the last 20 years or so, there's been some scandal or another with various individuals. The question really does rear its head. Who is going to get this contract? Which company? Who's going to have ties to it? Who's going to profit from it? Because one thing I can tell you is one of the reasons I promote certain companies such as NordVPN and Incognito on my channels here. One of the reasons for that is that this is to protect you as individuals from the theft and the manipulation and the sale of your data, because data is valuable. There's a saying that if you are not paying something for the product or the service, then you are the product, because they are using your data. When you're watching something, searching for something, and just using a service and a product, if you're not paying for it, then the money is coming from you, from the data you provide, from the information you provide by using it, by inputting data into it, by sharing it, and everything else. The money is coming from that. Now, obviously, everyone has to make money somehow, but if this is a government scheme, it really shouldn't be making money on those things. And when it comes to ministers and believing or not believing, as the case may be, what they say, I have a really difficult time of it, because let's take this example here from Richard Bergen. He was repeatedly questioned as to whether he made a specific statement, and he denied it and denied it and denied it. And you guessed it, there's a clip afterwards where he actually said it. Watch this.
You told a Labour Party meeting, did you not, in 2016, that Zionism is the enemy of peace?
Well, that was an allegation made by the Daily Express. I asked them at which meeting I was meant to have said that.
I think it was reported in the Daily Mail.
But
Did
they
you
couldn't
say
respond
that?
to me. I didn't say that, and they couldn't tell me when they believed I had said that. It's not my view.
So just be clear, he said he didn't say it, and it's not his view. Listen on.
I believe...
You didn't say... It's important, because you may well be correcting the record here, which is important. You didn't say that.
No, and it's not my view.
Again, he said he didn't say it, not his view.
I believe that on occasions, the government of Israel, like the governments of other countries, has been an enemy of peace. But we've got to see that's a separate subject.
Oh, of course, and I understand the difference. Joan Ryan, though, Labour MP, she's the chair of Friends of Israel, she wrote to you asking you to clarify the comments, but when you replied to her, you didn't deny that you had made them.
Well, I didn't make those comments.
Again, he said he didn't deny that he didn't make the comments.
I asked when I was meant to have made those comments. No one could tell me, and it's not my view. So if it's not my view, I wouldn't have made those comments.
Okay, so why didn't you just say, I didn't say it? Because I've got your reply here. You didn't deny that you'd said it.
Well, I would not have said that because it's not my view.
Again, said he wouldn't said it, and it's not his view. Listen on.
Okay.
So you didn't say it?
Well, you didn't say it. You've said that.
And the enemy of the Palestinian people is not the Jewish people. The enemy of the Palestinian people are Zionists. And Zionism is the enemy of peace and the enemy of the Palestinian people. And we need to be loud, we need to be proud in support of...
And there you go. That's precisely what he just repeatedly said he didn't say. It's clearly there in video, and it doesn't seem to be AI or anything to me, so he's clearly said it. So can we really trust them? It's a really difficult thing to judge these days, whether you can trust what anyone ever says. And finally, for this video, we now have Robert Jenrick saying that he would seek to sack activist judges in a crackdown in pro-migration bias within the judiciary. He says that he's compiled a list of more than 30 full-time and part-time judges whom he says have previously volunteered help or provided free legal services to open border organizations. He said some have continued to post comments in support of open borders on social media since assuming their judicial roles. Speaking before his speech, he said at the Conservative Party conference in Manchester, he said that the list amounted to a hidden network of activist judges subverting the independence of the judiciary. Now, of course, I can't make any statement that judges are biased, but one might reasonably infer that if judges are volunteering for these organizations and speaking out in support of these organizations, in support of migration and in defense of illegal migration, etc., you might infer that they will be biased in their judgments. And I, for one, think that the judiciary should be absolutely independent and non-biased whatsoever. If there's any hint of bias or perceived bias, which is equally important, I believe they should step aside or at least not rule on those cases. And it would seem from some decisions, many people quite clearly think that this is the case. I did a poll on the Court of Appeal decision in the Epping hotel case, and most people felt that that was a politically influenced decision. So I told you a little bit of gossip for this video and a few things that just really seem a little bit ridiculous, with government essentially trying to tell people that you're not allowed to buy these things. You're not allowed a second glass of Coke and whatever. And again, as I say, I personally feel that this comes down to education, personal life choices. We should be encouraging change of lifestyle choices, change of education, not just stopping them from getting the deal from the shelf because that they think that's going to make things better. They will still buy the chocolate. If their mindset hasn't changed, they will still buy the chocolate. They will still buy the sugar drinks. They will, I don't buy sugary drinks. We hardly buy any chocolate or crisps or whatever in our house. It's not to say we don't. And when we do, it's probably a buy one, get one free because that's usually the better deal. But we don't buy a whole ton of it. We hardly ever eat those. We're always exercising and training and so on. Really is about lifestyle choices. It is not just about the government state control telling you you cannot do this, you cannot do that. In my view, that is just not the way to achieve results. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We're here on Secrets. Anything goes. I'll never shoot you down for your opinions, as long as you don't shoot me down for mine. But and even if you do, they're just my opinions regardless. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.